We're really excited to be launching these two fasting teas with Dr. Fung, and we'd love to take this opportunity to give you guys a little bit more color about them. And you've been very kind. Our audience has been extremely patient. We get tens of questions every day about our fasting teas, when they're launching, what they're going to be like. There's so much anticipation and eagerness, and I'm so, we're both so grateful, to you for that. And I think it's finally come time for us to unveil a little bit more information about these teas. So there are two that we're launching. One is called the fasting Matcha Green Tea, and then the other one is our ginger green tea. And they're both similar and very different at the same time. The matcha green tea, so this is the first matcha we've launched. And finding the right matcha partner is a process that has taken over 18 months for us. And really it was a process of finding the perfect cultivar, perfect farmer partner to work with. And we're very thrilled to be able to launch this now, because we've finally identified the right partner, and this is for three reasons. This is a 130-year-old family business, our matcha supplier. The second thing is that this generation who's currently running it is a 9th degree tea master. And there are only 10 9th-degree tea masters in the world. So we're very thrilled that this passion for producing amazing tea has run in the family for multiple generations. And the third thing is in regard to the geology of it. It's actually based in the southernmost tip of Fukuoka, which is an island to the south of Japan. You couldn't find a further spot in the whole country of Japan from Fukushima and the pollution that's happening there. And so, we're very thrilled about this. So our matcha green tea is a combination of what we understand to be the highest catechin containing teas, right? And this is for some of the health benefits we talked about. Catechins obviously being very beneficial, the identified ingredient that's beneficial for fasting. And it's a combination of tencha, which matcha is made of. It's one of the least oxidized green teas. In fact, it's shaded right before its harvest, combined with our Sencha tea crystals, which is our highest catechin containing blend of tea. And so it's a blend of these two incredible ingredients. It tastes amazing, a very, very high level of purity. And obviously our tea crystals are crystallized according to our traditional patented cold brew crystallization process. So you get a lot more of the polyphenols out of the leaves than you would normally. The other tea that we have is a very, very interesting blend of our Sencha. Again, a very high catechin containing tea. And some of the traditional herbs from the traditional Chinese medicine, TCM kind of discipline, as well as kind of Western herbology that help suppress appetite as well as improve digestive health. And some of those herbs are ginger and mint, which are both, ginger and citrus peels, which are both very healthy for the digestive system, been used for hundreds of years. And then on the other hand, licorice root and mint, which are actually understood to be very effective for helping suppress appetite. And so our ginger green tea is a blend of these incredible ingredients that we're very excited to bring to you to help with your fast.
Yeah, so I think this is fantastic because not only is the green tea something that we've always sort of promoted, and we've been thinking about doing this for many years, really right from the start of our IDM program. We wanted this, but with the higher amount of catechins, that's something that's beneficial, but by blending it with sort of the matcha, we think that you get even more of the benefits, because not only do you get the tea, which is really an extract, you actually get the sort of matcha, which is the ground whole leaf, so that any of those nutrients and so on that are there that are going to be helpful are actually, you're going to get it within the tea. So that was one of the things that we wanted to do. And then with the blend of the ginger, it gives it a more complex flavor. Mm-hmm. And again, all of these ingredients that have been used traditionally, and we're not bringing out the sort of latest and greatest berry from the Amazon sort of thing. We're using ginger root, something that's been used sort of for thousands of years. In China, licorice has been used, everywhere. They have licorice candy and so on in Scandinavia and so on. So these sort of traditional ingredients from all parts of the world. And honestly, it's because I think that all of these things can help. So ginger, for example, has always been sort of good for digestion. That's what it's been famous for, right? Good for nausea, good for digestion. And we see a lot of these problems during the fasting. We see people with digestive problems, they get the heartburn or they get the diarrhea or so on, and something like this can actually calm them down. And for example, with heartburn, sometimes we'll tell people to have lemon and water, and that seems to be very effective. So we're getting the citrus and the ginger in there and maybe help people. I think it tastes great too, and that's sort of an added benefit. But yeah, all these sort of herbal ingredients that can really have benefits for people, sort of all in one.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just add to that as well. The taste is obviously something that's of paramount importance to us as tea makers and as, the master blenders that we work with. Taste has a lot to do with how many cups of tea you can drink. If it's the healthiest thing for you and it tastes terrible, it's very unlikely that you're going to want to drink a lot of it. And so we put a lot of effort into that. And also, another point that I wanted to just expand upon a little bit is that, so many of the studies that you have that looked at are use catechin extracts that come in a pill. When you extract something from a pill and isolate it, they're called isolates. There's so much conflicting studies out there based on all the beneficial compounds that we've extracted from carrots, from tomatoes, from red wine into a pill form. There's very little conclusive evidence, whereas if you look at the broader epidemiological studies, there is actually some strong evidence for people that use olive oil, that drink tea, that eat tomatoes, that have a lot of certain types of vegetables, or drink wine every day in their diet. And this is something that's really critical to kind of our DNA, and is that we want to bring beneficial whole foods to people and not isolates. But we want to do it in a way that's extremely effective, that's extremely safe and pure, and also easy to use. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at the studies for the green tea extracts, it's an industrial process that they describe.
Right.
As opposed to this, which is essentially a whole foods method. You're basically steeping the tea for a long time to extract all those. But it's basically water and tea leaves. That's it, right? There's no solvents, there's no industrial processing, there's none of that goes on. And it's sort of getting back to a whole food sort of ancient, time-tested techniques. And that's one of the things that I really like about it too.
Thank you. In fact, this is, the cold brew crystallization process. I don't know if anyone's heard this story, but it's based on a 1,300-year-old process that I discovered in Yunnan province, which is, next to Tibet. It's where tea was originally from. In fact, the oldest tea tree there is 3,500 years old, but the indigenous cultures there have been turning tea into a medicinal paste through a very similar process to what we use, where they boil the tea leaves, they extract everything in the water, and then they remove the leaves and just keep boiling the water down until there's a resin or a paste left behind, and they eat it or they dissolve it in water. Pique's improvement on that obviously is that we've removed the hot temperatures from the boiling, and so instead of that we cold brew. And in order to dry it, we actually use a combination of the vacuum, which is air pressure, and lower temperatures. The boiling point goes down, a little temperature, you get evaporation. That's effectively all we're doing here. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I know that there is a huge amount of anticipation, and I want to thank everyone for their patience, and believe me, we're as excited as you are to get these into your hands.